We may encounter legal problems in our everyday life which can only be resolved through litigation. However, not all of us can afford the legal fees involved. In Hong Kong, anyone who has reasonable grounds to take court proceedings but cannot afford to do so can apply for legal aid. If legal aid is granted, you have the assistance of a lawyer to take or defend court proceedings. Whether you are a Hong Kong resident or not, you can apply for legal aid. And legal aid is available for proceedings in district court level or above, as well as application to the Mental Health Review Tribunal and certain death inquests. To be granted legal aid, you must pass both the means and merits tests. The purpose of the means test is to ensure that the applicant's income and capital do not exceed the prescribed financial eligibility limits for legal aid. When conducting the means test, the legal aid department will take into account the financial resources made up of the income and capital of the applicant, such as salary, employment benefits, bank savings, stocks, and investment property. In calculating the applicant's financial resources, certain allowable deductions will be made, such as rent, mortgage payments, rates, and statutory personal allowances for living expenses. The value of the applicant's only or main dwelling will also be excluded. Applicants aged 60 or above will receive an additional capital disregard. If you wish to learn more about the means test, you can refer to this leaflet or access the department's website using your mobile phone or computer. This is a means test calculator on the department's website, which will give you an approximate idea whether you meet the eligibility limits for legal aid. The merits test is to determine whether there are reasonable grounds for taking or defending proceedings. When conducting the merits test, the department will take into account the background of the case, the available evidence, the relevant law to determine whether there are reasonable grounds to grant legal aid. If the application for legal aid involves complex legal issues, novel points of law, or judicial reviews, the department may seek an opinion from a barrister in the private sector. As legal aid is funded using taxpayers' money to assist persons of limited means to litigate, the department will also consider from the angle of prudent use of public fund whether it is reasonable to grant legal aid. For example, legal aid will not be granted if the likely costs of the proceedings far exceed the value of the claim, or the chance of recovering any money is so slim that even if the claim is successful, an ordinary person would not use his own money on such proceedings. If an application for legal aid is refused, the applicant can appeal to the Registrar of the High Court. The Registrar's decision is final. Applicants are required by law to make full and frank disclosure of all relevant information to the department. Applicants who make false statements or representations may be prosecuted. The department only deals with applications for legal aid to take or defend court proceedings and do not provide an advice service. If you need to seek legal advice, you can make use of the Home Affairs Bureau's free legal advice scheme, where free legal advice is provided. Although anyone can apply for legal aid, in order to avoid abuse of the system, the department may refuse to consider any future applications by a person who has applied for and been refused legal aid on 2 or more occasions for a period not exceeding 3 years. Legal aid covers many different types of cases, which are closely related to our daily lives. So when there are problems in a marriage and the husband and wife decide to divorce, they may need to deal with matters such as the children's custody, maintenance, and division of property. If it is necessary to resolve matters through court proceedings, they can apply for legal aid. Sometimes, due to the carelessness of others, you suffer injuries at work or in a traffic or medical accident. You may also encounter employment or contractual disputes, or be owed wages and severance pay because your employer has gone bankrupt or your employer's company has closed down. If you need a lawyer to help you take legal proceedings, you can also apply for legal aid. Other cases covered by legal aid include land disputes, general contractual disputes, immigration matters, judicial reviews. If you are a victim of work-related, traffic, or other accidents, you should not approach the claims recovery agents for help. You should be aware of touting activities by recovery agents who advertise their services in helping clients handle accident compensation claims on a no-win, no-fee basis. This is because your interest may be jeopardized as your rights to compensation may not be fully protected. Their acts may also constitute a criminal offense. The coverage of legal aid is very wide. As legal aid is paid for out of public funds, which are not unlimited, there is a need to prioritize the services offered so that available resources are targeted to benefit persons who most need them. Therefore, legal aid is not available for certain types of proceedings, such as proceedings before the Small Claims Tribunal and the Labor Tribunal. For those whose financial resources exceed the prescribed eligibility limit for the ordinary legal aid scheme, they may be granted legal aid under the Supplementary Legal Aid Scheme. This scheme covers only certain types of cases, such as personal injury claims, professional negligence claims against lawyers, doctors, dentists, accountants, estate agents, monetary claims against developers in the sale of first-hand residential properties, and negligence claims arising from the sale of insurance products where the claim for damages exceeds $60,000. This scheme also covers employees' compensation claims and employees' labor tribunal appeals where there is no limit on the amount of claim. As the supplementary scheme is a self-financing scheme, the applicant is required to pay an application fee. If legal aid is granted, the applicant has to pay an interim contribution when accepting the offer of legal aid. If the claim succeeds, the aided person has to pay a certain percentage of the damages to the fund of the supplementary scheme. Apart from civil cases, legal aid is also available for accused persons in criminal cases. Anyone can apply for criminal legal aid, which covers committal proceedings in the magistrate's courts and cases tried in the district court and the court of first instance. Applicants who are granted criminal legal aid will have legal representation by a solicitor and a barrister if necessary. Legal aid will also be granted for all criminal appeals, including appeals to the Court of Final Appeal in cases where there are valid grounds for appeal with a reasonable prospect of success. Generally speaking, legal aid is not free. An applicant who passes the means and merits tests may have to pay a contribution towards the costs of the proceedings when legal aid is offered. The amount of the contribution payable depends on the applicant's income and capital. Payment of contributions can be made by post, PPS, bank automated teller machine, internet banking, or in person by cash or check at the department's offices. When a case is concluded, if an aided person successfully gets or keeps any benefits, such as money or property as a result of a decision of the court or an out-of-court settlement, the department has a right to recover the costs incurred for the aided person out of the money or property the aided person gets or keeps. Legal aid is like a loan to the aided person to enable him to litigate a case. The aided person will have to pay back the loan, which is the costs and expenses paid by the department out of the contribution, and the money or property he gets or keeps from the proceedings. These expenses also include the charges paid by the department for conducting the means and merits tests, such as bank search fees, medical report fees, and fees for obtaining opinions from independent barristers or experts in private practice. To facilitate early settlement of disputes and to mitigate costs, the courts encourage the parties to the litigation to attempt mediation. Since mediation has become an integral part of civil proceedings, legal aid covers mediation and the fees incurred will be treated as part of the litigation costs. Mediation is suitable for a wide variety of cases, such as custody and maintenance disputes, employees' compensation claims, and personal injury claims. Legal aid cases are either handled by the department's in-house lawyers or by private practitioners on the legal aid panel. To maintain independence, the department assigns all judicial review cases out to private practitioners for handling. Claims referred by the Labor Department to recover outstanding wages and severance pay are handled by the department's in-house lawyers. The department regularly monitors the progress and costs incurred of cases which have been assigned out to be handled by private practitioners. Attention will also be given to the continued merits of such cases. However, the department will not tell assigned lawyers how to conduct cases. Aided persons who have queries about assigned out cases should contact the assigned lawyer direct. If the department considers that an aided person no longer has reasonable grounds to continue the proceedings, for example, there is evidence which is unfavorable to the aided person's claim, the aided person unreasonably rejects an offer for settlement, or the opposite party has become bankrupt or is unable to pay damages, legal aid may be discharged. If the department discovers that an aided person provides false information to obtain legal aid, it will revoke the aided person's legal aid certificate. The department will then recover all the costs and expenses incurred from the aided person. It will also refer the case to the police. Anyone who wishes to apply for civil legal aid can apply at the department's offices in Admiralty or the Kowloon office in Mong Kok. For criminal legal aid, you can apply at the department's Admiralty offices. Persons remanded in custody can apply through the welfare officer of the Correctional Services Department. In non-urgent cases, you can submit pre-application information online as a first step towards making a formal application for legal aid through the department's website. If you wish to know more about legal aid services, you can visit the department's website or call its 24-hour telephone hotline at 2537-7677. The Legal Aid Department is committed to ensure that no one who qualifies for legal aid is denied access to justice because of a lack of means. What legal aid does is therefore to strengthen the rule of law and fortify the administration of justice in Hong Kong.